Hello, my super duper kids. I welcome you once again to the Great Victory Land virtual class. I hope you're having a very wonderful week. Now today we're going to have the lesson on science. And the science, we're going to complete that of living and non-living things. So we are hoping that by the end of the lesson we're going to have today, you, the students, will be able to 1. State and explain the life processes of living things. State and explain the life processes of living things. 2. Define and give examples of non-living things. Define and give examples of non-living things. And then finally, differentiate between living and non-living things. Are we good to go? Good. Now to our question for today. What are the life processes of living things? What are the life processes of living things? Living things. Let's look at living things as a whole. Living things are things that undergo all the life processes. So you see, the life process I was already talking about are being undergone by living things. So living things are things that undergo all the life processes. So therefore, life processes are the processes living things undergo from day one of their existence till the time they expire. So therefore, life processes are the processes living things undergo from day one of their existence to the time they expire. It simply means that they are the life processes that all living things undergo when they are in existence, meaning that when they are being given birth to, or there's a different way of bringing up their young ones, from their young stage to their what? To their last stage in life. That is when they reach the old age and they die. Good. Now we have these life processes. So the life processes of living things. There are 7 basic life processes living things go through. There are 7 basic life processes living things go through. And they are 1. Reproduction. 1. Reproduction. 2. Growth. 2. Growth. 3. Excretion. 3. Excretion. 4. Irritability. 4. Irritability. 5. Movement. 5. Movement. 6. Respire. 6. Respire. 7. Die. 7. Die. Reproduction. We are looking at them one after the other. Reproduction. Living things reproduce by giving birth to young ones of their own kind. So like example, you are a human being, your mother is a human being, and when she gave birth to a human being, that is you. So you see, animals, example like dog, give birth to dog. Cat give birth to cat. Birds give birth to their type or kind of bird. So therefore, living things reproduce by giving birth to young ones of their own kind. Some plants do have some parts of them taken to be replanted in order to produce new ones of their kind. Some plants do have some parts of them taken to be replanted in order to produce new ones of their kind. So in reproduction in plants, they use different parts of the plant for this reproduction. Some plants have their seeds being used for their reproduction. Others have some parts of them cut in order to be reproduced again. So now I hope now you've gotten an understanding that only living things can reproduce, and they have ways where they give birth, or they have part of them replanted to germinate or produce their kinds. Good. We carry on to growth. Now we all know that you know as well that you were a kid when your mother gave birth to you. You couldn't walk, you couldn't do anything. They got to a point, started crawling. They got to a point where started what? Walking. You were not as old as you are. You were very little. You were a month old. You got to 2 months old. You got to half a year old. You got to a year, carry on to 2 years, and then to the stage you are now. It means you are growing. So growth in living things get energy from food, which helps them to increase in size and weight. So you see, you increase in size and weight each and every day, and you do so when you take in good food and you gain energy. Good. We carry on to excretion. Living things remove waste products from their body through sweat, urine, and toilet. Living things remove waste products from their body through sweat, urine, and toilet. So you see, all these things come out of your system in order to help you replace them with the what? Water and food. Now these things digest and they come out as sweat, urine, and toilet. And this is a form known as called excretion. Excretion, because it is the point where you remove these things out of your body and they are being called waste products. So sweat, urine, and toilet are waste products that are being taken out of the body in order to be able to replace them with food and water. Good. Now we carry on to irritability. Irritability. Living things responds to stimuli. Living things responds to stimuli. Living things are sensitive to their environment. Living things are sensitive to their environment. Now, stimuli simply means that you're being sensitive to something. For example, when the weather is cold, automatically your body starts to sense the coldness around the environment, and then it starts reacting to it, where you start feeling cold. The same way, when the environment is very hot or warm, the same body adjusts to that sensitiveness of the environment, and then it starts getting warm and cold and hot. So you got a point, you start saying that you are feeling hot. Yes, it is because your body is able to respond to that kind of stimuli, responding to the sensitiveness of the environment. Movement. Now we believe living things can move. Plants, for example, can move, but not from one place to the other. But looking at the curves or the shape they form, it shows that they move. Because whilst it grows, it moves from one stage to the other. It grows up. So it moves from being down to up. The curves in it shows that it moves by in a curved way. It moves in a curved way. So living things can move parts of their body, and animals can move from one place to another. And animals can move from one place to another. Good. We move on to respire as the next life process. Living things breathe in air, true or false? We all respond as true. Animals take in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Animals take in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Likewise, plants, they breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. So it's more like a cycle. Plants give us oxygen and we give them carbon dioxide. This breaks down food substances to release energy. So when you take in the oxygen, it goes in and then it helps to break down the food you've taken it into what its simplest form for the body to absorb in order to release energy for the body. So I hope now you've gotten the understanding on how plants undergo this kind of life process. Good. We move on to the last process, which is die. Die. Now, after living things have undergone all life processes such as respire, growth, many more, all the other 6 life processes, they end up dying because that is the last life process. So after living things have undergone all life processes, they eventually lose their existence. This means they die. Good. So now I believe you've gotten what each and every life processes stand for in each and every living thing, and how they help each and every living thing to move from one stage in life to another. So the life or the stages in life comes to an end. Now we carry on to non-living things. Non-living things are things that do not undergo any life processes. Non-living things are things that do not undergo any life processes. They simply do not have life in them. They simply do not have life in them. So you see, non-living things can't undergo these life processes we've learned because they are lifeless. They do not have any life in them. Let's look at examples of such non-living things. We have car, bed, mobile phone, table, chair, house, football, and then school bag. Now you can see all these things are made by man because they are things that these living things are being used in making them. Good. Now we carry on to the differences between living and non-living things. Differences between living and non-living things. So we have living things and we also have non-living things. Living things have life in them, yes. Living things have life. Non-living things are lifeless. Non-living things are lifeless. 2. Living things can move. Living things can move. Non-living things cannot move. Non-living things cannot move. Living things can respire. Living things can respire. Non-living things cannot or do not respire. Non-living things do not respire. 4. Living things can reproduce. Living things can reproduce, but non-living things cannot reproduce. Non-living things cannot reproduce. Non-living things cannot reproduce. Last, living things can die. Living things can die, but non-living things do not die, but get destroyed. Non-living things do not die, but get destroyed. So finally, we've come to an end of the lesson on living things and non-living things. We've learned about plants, we've learned about animals, we've learned on how living things undergo certain life processes. And then we've learned about non-living things and their examples. We've also gotten the differences between living and non-living things. So I now hope you know everything about living things and you can talk and share your views on them wherever you go. So we have these questions as your evaluation for today. You answer, and God willing on Friday, you submit all of them for us to go through and mark. So the answer these questions. 1. Create one living thing and one non-living thing from materials such as clay, cardboard, or paper. So the question here is telling you that you are to create one living thing and one non-living thing, making two. And you can use any of these materials such as clay, cardboard, or paper in making these living things and non-living things. Good. Number 2. Dash is the increase in size and weight. Dash is the increase in size and weight. 3. The removal of waste products from the body is known as. The removal of waste products from the body is known as dash. 4. Draw one example each of a living thing and one non-living thing. Draw one example each of a non-living thing and a non-living thing. So I hope now you have this lesson and now you are good to go. Have a nice day and stay safe. Catch up with you on another lesson. Bye.